is a record for me. I normally have one or two in a day, but I've been blessed to have three wonderful women come discuss how public speaking is important in their business. So I hope you've been taking notes. I hope you've been listening. And if not, that's okay. The videos are on my page. You definitely are going to want to reach watch these videos. And then you're going to want to follow these women, follow their businesses, and take part in what they're offering because there's so many jewels that have been just given out today. And this call is going to be no different. So again, I'm going to plug my Model Speakers Academy that is launching next month. You definitely want to stay tuned because this academy is for anybody who wants to improve their public speaking. Many people hate public speaking. They hate talking in front of groups. And I want to take away that fear, take away that dislike, that disgust, and empower you because guess what? Communication is here to stay. We all were born being able to talk prayerfully, but public speaking is a skill, and it's a skill that we all can improve upon. And so I want to give you the tools so that you can model the excellence in your speaking. And the model stands for motivate, organize, deliver, engage, and lead. That's what I want to help you with my Model Speakers Academy. But enough about that. We have Tabitha Azor here. She's a therapist and coach, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself and her business, and then we're going to get right into the questions. So, welcome, Tabitha. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Samantha, for having me. My name is Tabitha. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist and also a coach. I am the founder of NYC Healing Center. So we serve people in New York State, pretty much, with therapeutic services. But my most proud thing is that I've been able to offer affordable therapy to people who pretty much need it, and that's really my heart because I do want people to have access to this stuff. And then on the coaching side, I coach women to be able to heal from divorce and navigate and create the new chapter in the life that they want to build. So that's pretty much what I do.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love that you said you have a heart to help people who may not be able to afford it. So many times people get their degrees, they get their businesses, and there's nothing wrong with them wanting to make money, but some people allow the dollar to drive their business. And so many people need help. Mental health is on a serious rise in our country and across the world. Many people are struggling with different things and they need the tools and the resources to help them, so therapists and coaches like you are needed, and especially women like you who are passionate about helping women find their voice and to recover from the things that life gives us. Because sometimes we're a victim of circumstance. We can't help what comes our way, but the fact that we can change our story. That's why I like to say that we can change the narrative. So just because something happened to me, I don't have to let it change the narrative of my life and hold me back. I can move forward. I can learn the lesson. I can take that pain. I can take whatever it is and move forward.
Right, and the goal is not to kind of like so many people are living backwards. They're looking back at what happened because they still have so much power over them, but they're not able to live in the present and be in the moment, right? So it can it can become very difficult to then enjoy things and live the
Mhm.
life that they deserve to live. So that's what the therapy and the coaching does. It gets people unstuck so that they can be able to go out and live the life of freedom that they're really meant to live.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. So I love that. So I'm going to go ahead and get with the first question. Why do you believe public speaking is a crucial skill for business professionals today?
With public speaking, so many times when we think about, okay, I'm gonna start this business, that's not the first thing. That's not the first thing at least I thought about. Right? Like I'm about to put myself in the forefront. I'm about to go speak and do all of these things. I was, if you knew me, maybe 3 or so years ago, I was extremely shy. I could not speak for anything, and of course, like I have moments when my speaking started early, around 16, when my church would give me opportunities to preach and do sermons and stuff like that, very early, and I kind of like struggled through those. So I was speaking, but at the same time, I was very closed off and reserved, and I wasn't able to get in front of a camera and do a live or something like that. So it became So for me, I find that sometimes those things are what kind of like stop people.
Hmm.
But in order, if when you have a business and you are the face of that business, people
Hmm.
need to be able to see you, because we're at the age where people don't necessarily buy products anymore. They buy a story, and they buy whatever it is that your brand is. That's what they stand behind. So for a while I wanted to hide. I don't want to be at the forefront. I don't want to go and do this speaking thing. I don't want to be in front of the camera. But eventually I had to do it, because visibility, when I show up and when I show my face, it means that my services and those great and wonderful things that I want to do are able to be other people are able to be exposed to them, and
Yeah.
they can know, okay, these things are happening, as opposed to just me hiding and not wanting to speak at all.
Right. And also nowadays, with this digital society and social media and technology, there are a lot of frauds. There are a lot of
Mhm.
people who hide behind, their profiles. So we need our customers to know that we're real.
Right.
We're real people. We're real humans, that they can relate to us, and that we really can offer them help. And
Mhm.
so sometimes, yes, it is kind of nerve-wracking to have to, put yourself out there, but for your business to be successful, you almost have to become a salesperson,
You do.
whether you want to or not. You have to be willing to pitch your business, be willing to do those lives, get in on the screen and talk. And so people can know, they can see your footprints, if you will, to say, okay, this is not a
Mhm.
fly by night situation. This is a real therapist. This is a real coach. This is
Right.
a real person who can help me. And I'm seeing this person, and I'm able to relate to them, and now I want to work with them. So like you said, people are not just buying a product, they're buying from a person, and they
Mhm.
want to know your story. They want to, feel like they can relate to you. So I think that's very, very important, being able to successfully, establish your business. And even with, work, if you want to get a promotion, the person that's the most quiet at the job, 9 times out of 10, may not get promoted, because they need to know, as your boss, that you can speak
Mhm.
up, that you can
Right.
handle the leadership, that you can talk, that you're not going to be shrinking away or hiding back. And so, even on the job, being able to communicate effectively, being able to articulate your desires, your needs, your ideas are very important. Because if you're silent, people don't know what you're thinking. They don't know whether you know what's going on or not. And sometimes the person that's the most vocal gets the most attention, whether they're an expert or not, or whether they're qualified or not. But because they can speak up, they got selected. So we don't
Mhm.
want our voices to be stifled. We don't want our voices to be hidden, but we want our voices to be used and empowered, because that is what's connected to our next level sometimes.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to kind of like, when we are speaking, it's not about how often you speak. It's about making, when you do speak, making it have an impact where people won't be able to
Yes.
forget who you are, right? Because
Mhm.
anybody can talk and talk and talk. Anybody that's not shy and is extroverted can talk your ears off. But
Yes.
what is it that you're saying, and is
Yes.
what you're saying going to leave an impression, going to connect with your audience, going to make the person that you're talking to feel important enough, that they're going to remember you, from what you say, from how it is that you treat them, from how you look at them, for all of those things, right? So it's not necessarily about how much you talk. Yes, the talking gets you known and noticed. People know
Right.
the sound of your voice, but what is it that you're saying when you do open your mouth? And I tend to kind of like keep my mouth shut,
Mhm.
unless until I have something substantial to say most of the time.
Now that was a whole sermon right there. Okay, really, because you're right. There are a lot of people who are talking, but there are a lot of empty words that are coming
Mhm,
out. And I love that you said you want to have impact and you want to
mhm,
be memorable. You don't want to just be a person known to always have something to say, and then people are gonna start tuning you out because they know that you're just gonna be talking.
mhm,
But when I talk, I want to be calculated, I want to be intentional, and I want to have impact. I want to make sure that when people hear me talk, like, oh, wait a minute, Tabitha's talking. Wait a minute, the Samantha's talking. I need to listen,
mhm.
because when that person talks, they know that you're going to bring some relevance, something that's going to be valuable. and you want your words to be valuable. So that was an
Absolutely.
excellent point.
and
So
and
my
that
next
doesn't
point,
happen. That doesn't happen unless you listen first, right? I feel
mm,
like so many people, they go into a conversation, they are thinking about the next thing. What is the next thing I'm going to say? How is it that I can get this person's attention? And the overthinking can get in the way, right? Instead of just being present with whoever you're with. Like, I'm right here with you. I'm listening to your story. I read this book recently on communication. I think it's Robert. Is it Robert? No, John Maxwell's 22 Laws of Communication, 16 Laws of Communication.
okay,
Um, and he was saying that the people that you talk to, they have to feel like they are the only people in the room. Like that, I'm the only person in the room, and you listening to me with, and you're so present with me, and you've made me feel so important. And the listening piece will allow the rest of the communication to flow. And I guess
hmm,
I have an advantage. I'm a therapist. What I do is mostly listen and then
right,
compute it in my mind and then throw it back at the client so that they can get it in the language that they can understand. But I think anybody can do this. It doesn't take much to really listen to someone,
right,
or listen to the audience, and researching your audience and saying, "Hey, what is it that they need most," so that you can speak to those pain points and those things that they are actually going through and coming in the room with. And I think that's the way we can be impactful as speakers.
right. That was excellent. I'm glad you brought that up. Uh, One part of my boot camp that I did over the summer, we had something called active listening,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to listen to just respond, but you
Right.
want to listen to understand. So I'm glad you brought that point up. And then also, we train or teach people how to repeat back what they asked. If they have a question to ask from the audience, you restate it back to them to make sure that you're, in fact, answering their question and you're hearing them
Mm-hmm.
correctly. So we
Mm-hmm.
need to make sure that not only are we listening, but we're actively listening, making sure that we are understanding what the person is saying, so that when we relay that information back, it is going to be what they are desiring. So definitely, you're right. You want to be a active listener, someone who's not just so quick to respond, but to really hear what the person's heart, and then offer a response based after you've taken time to hear fully their message.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you can make sure that you're addressing what needs to be addressed, and not just hearing your voice said or talked about, or making sure you're getting your points out, but make sure that there's an understanding. Communication should be a two-way street. It
Right.
shouldn't
Right.
just be one way, because that's just a dialogue, or excuse me, a monologue. But you want a
Monologue.
dialogue. You want to make sure that you're able to have both people involved, and not you just spitting out what you want. So yeah, that was definitely a good point. So my next question is, can you share a personal experience where effective public speaking significantly impacted your career or business?
Yeah, I mean, going to places in general and connecting with people afterwards is always important. My goal is to always make people feel like they're important, that I'm listening to you, and I want to hear your story. I have knowledge. I used to do this. I used to kind of like spit out the facts. I know what I'm talking about. And then I realized that's something that I was hiding behind, right? But when
Mhm.
I took the time and really listened to people's stories, where are you now in your life? How are you handling these things? Ask those questions to really make people feel interested. Then that's when you really have a connection with them. So building that connection beyond the stage, I feel like is the most important thing that you can do, because you never know where your next lead is going to come from. You never know who a quick thing that you can say, a quick word of encouragement that you can offer to someone, because you just heard that they're dealing with this and their kid is struggling through something. Those things leave an impact, and they're gonna remember, oh, I met this girl at this event. And these are the things that help people remember you. It's not necessarily because knowledge doesn't really transform anybody. It's when that knowledge is really internalized, and
Mhm.
people can then see what it looks like into practice and actually put it into practice, that it creates change. So you can spit as much knowledge at people as you can,
Right.
but if you take the time to really get to know them and let them speak, then that's where kind of like it allows you to get to okay, let me refer this person to you. Oh, I know this person. You should connect with that person. Because in business, it's about relationships. It's not about, it's about the people that you know that can connect you with the right people that you can then do that kingdom assignment or that other thing with. It's not really about anything. But I would say relationships are the most important things in
Wow.
business. So
Yeah.
yeah, so connecting with one person can shift things tremendously
Hmm.
and in your business if you can create time for people to really feel connected to you.
Yeah. And you've just been hitting on so many amazing points. And when you said that just now, it made me think. I was reading the book by I can't remember the author at the moment, but it was called "Speak with No Fear."
Hmm.
And he said one thing that he does at his speaking engagements, he tries to, of course, get there early so he'll be prepared, but he tries to meet the people in the audience. He tries to shake hands, talk, because that makes him feel more comfortable. Because now I'm not talking to a room full of strangers, I'm talking to people who I've already connected with prior
Right.
to the message. And so sometimes, he'll kind of try to jot down the names or try to keep track so when he's actually doing his talk, he can actually say some of these people's names because he met them beforehand. And so
Hmm.
that is a way to connect and engage with your audience by one kind of breaking the ice, because a lot of times people don't expect to meet the speaker beforehand. They
Right.
expect that maybe at the end, but the fact that you're walking around like saying, "Hey, I'm a person like you." You're being relatable. You're shaking hands. You're breaking the ice. You're trying to establish your connection beforehand is a beautiful idea. So I like that technique. And I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but I was like, that's a good idea. Get there early, kind of like you said, talk, communicate, engage with the audience, make those connections because, like you said, you don't know where your lead can come from. And if you're more personable, more relatable, somebody that can touch, not somebody so big and far away and above and looking down on them, but somebody that they can connect with, then that may definitely open some doors for future things. And then I even read another book where a lady said she was just being friendly in the bathroom. Because how many times we're in the restroom and you
Yeah.
use it, you wash your hands, you don't think anything of it. But maybe next time before just wash your hands and rushing out, maybe just say hello. Maybe just how you doing? Or, just having a small conversation and you don't know what that could turn into. So long story short, the woman spoke to somebody in the bathroom, but she didn't realize that that person was the hiring person for speakers at this next event. So long story short, they talked and exchanged information. She thought nothing of it. The lady contacts her about 2 or 3 weeks later, offers her a position. They were looking for a speaker. She liked her personality so well, and they had that small connection in the bathroom. She
Mm.
offered her the speaking engagement, and the budget was almost twice than what she would normally ask for. But the lady just kind of came out and told her. And so, of course, she graciously accepted, but let's just say she was just quiet in the bathroom,
Mhm.
washed her hands, like, hey, I'm busy. I don't have time to deal with you, and just left out. She would have missed that opportunity
Absolutely.
to connect with somebody who literally had the power to hire her. So I'm
Hmm.
not saying be nice just to get things, but you just never know who you're going to interact with or how that hello, how that connection, how that being friendly, how that being relatable can impact something later because to your point we don't know where our next lead can come from, so it just always pays to be kind. It always just pays to be a person who can connect and who can be engaged and who can be friendly and just make those relationships because like you said business, a lot of that is best built on relationships.
Right.
And wouldn't it be awesome to get your next client through referral? It's
Hmm.
one thing to get, business cold and you don't know the person, but what if you get to a point in your business where literally 50%, if not more, of your new clients are based off of
Hmm.
referrals. Because guess what? People trust referrals more than a stranger off the internet. So if somebody can vouch for your character, or vouch for how you are as a business person, or just how you as an individual, period. Like, oh, she's nice, he's kind. Oh yeah, you want to work with that person. You just
Yeah.
don't know how your name can come up in a positive way if you just go into it being a light, if you will, or just being kind.
Yeah. Yeah. Just showing up as a human being. I think my best clients come through word of mouth.
Mhm.
Like I've been working with some of my clients for a while, and they just use therapy as something they use to take care of themselves to make sure that they're remaining healthy. And they're like, okay, I told you about this. I told this person about you. I told that person about you. And then you get the same level of client, right? The same, because people, when they hang out, the people they hang out with, they're pretty much similar,
Yes.
in where they are in life, what it is that they
Yes.
want to do, their commitment to their own healing. So
Mm,
you're getting quality clients because you
right.
have helped your client become a quality person
Yes.
overall. So I think it's just really about relationships and not being afraid to connect with people. And even
Absolutely.
like with, as introverts, I get very curious. As an introvert, I get very curious about what's your story. I see you, and
Hmm.
that's given me this gift where sometimes I can see like the emotion on the person, even if they're like all bright and smiling. I can see beyond, I guess, the mask that some of us wear, right? So sometimes I'm like, what's your story? Like, what made you this person? And I get very curious about that. And I feel like if
Hmm.
we approach it with, oh, I want to know more about this person, that can become easier for us to then connect with them, but with genuine, like, I really want to know you, and not necessarily what can you do for me? How can you, get me to the next phase of my business kind of thing.
Right. Yes, showing genuine concern and, like you said, genuine curiosity. Because
Hmm.
people, sometimes don't have anybody asking them how they're doing or what's going on with them. So to have someone genuinely ask about them and listen, they're like, wow, you
Yeah.
mean you want me to talk about myself? You want me to share about who I am? Many people have not had that. So, right, being that person who is willing to listen to somebody else and allow them to share how they're doing, what their story is very helpful and encouraging as well. So, my next question is, what are some common public speaking challenges that business professionals face, and how can they overcome them?
I think starting is the hardest
Mm,
thing when it comes to speaking. I
yes.
remember when I had to do my first Instagram live. I have been sitting on it for a very long time, and I was feeling like, ah, man, do I want to do this? I don't really want to talk to the camera. I just sit there and do all of that. And then I just started. I must have said like 22 ums in that video.
Right.
But it's like, you know what? I started. I did
Right.
it. I completed it. I think
Mhm.
one or two people joined because my Instagram was like, and both of them were my family members. I'm like, I'm going live. You need to show up. But I
Right.
feel like one of the most difficult things is to start. Is
Hmm.
to start and say, you know what? I'm gonna do it myself. Some people are like, but I don't have a stage to do it. This is a stage. Create your
Hello.
own stage. Like, go
That's
on
right.
Facebook, go on Instagram, create your own stage. Like, put an
Right.
event together if that's what you're into, that's centered around your business. Part of what I do is I do events. I have a mental health conference coming up in October, in
Mm,
September, next month, in September. And it's like I create those spaces where I can, it's my own stage. I can stand on it and I can talk and I can
right.
practice my speaking so that the people that show up can get a feel of what I sound like, of how I speak, what it is that I have to say and offer.
Hmm.
So yes, starting is one of the first ones, and then once you start, then get to the practicing. Get to
Hmm.
practicing what it is. Just master the craft. There are
Right.
people who want to be speakers, but they don't ever sit down and practice. The first time that they sang, and that used to be me, right?
Hmm.
With my preaching, the first time I used to say it was when I was up there, because it was really hard for me to stand in front of people and say it. But once I would start talking, then it
Yeah.
would flow out of me, because I think the Holy Spirit just takes over. But at some point, God had to be like, girl, yeah, the Holy Spirit is taking over, but at the same time, like, your responsibility is to go and practice this,
Right.
prepare for it properly, so that you can be able to get to a place where you can plan to connect with people. You can,
Mhm.
those transitions, they can happen better. Like, you need to improve
Yes.
your craft. So yeah, get yourself a start, and it's okay at the beginning, but in the end, like, you have to be able to practice your craft and improve your craft, So
Yes.
because there's certain stages you're not gonna get to unless you've done the work,
Mhm.
and gotten yourself at the level that you need to be at. And I think that's why what you're doing is so important, because some people don't have the discipline to do it by themselves, and they can't pretty much go ahead and practice it over and over again. They need community and they need people
Mhm.
to be able to teach them, okay, this is what you're doing wrong. This is what you need to do better. And a
Right.
lot of the speakers that we see today, they've had those classes,
Hmm.
speaking classes, places to train themselves to be
Hmm.
able to get there. So I think, yeah, stuff like what you're doing with the Model Speaker Academy is absolutely important for people to be able to develop themselves and build those skills that they need.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for saying that. But like you said, getting started is the hardest thing. Some people stay in the thinking stage and the planning stage
Right,
for way too long. And it's like, done is better than perfect. I've said it a
right,
couple of times.
right.
Just get it done, get it out there. It's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. You can always improve upon it. And like you said, after you start, then you got to practice. Yes, the Holy Spirit can help us. Yes, sometimes things just work out, but overall, you need to be prepared. You need to be practicing. Your first time going over the speech out loud should not be
Mhm,
when you're actually presenting it. So when
right.
you're practicing at home, practice it out loud. Go through the entire 5 pages or whatever it is like you would in front of the audience. Because I know another saying that says you want to practice how you play.
Hmm.
So, you want to, or, play how you practice. So you want to make sure you've been practicing, going over everything, the pauses, the laughter, the jokes, all of that, and then do it in
Hmm.
front of an audience. Somebody you trust who can give you honest, critical feedback that can
Right.
help you improve. And then even if you don't have anybody, record yourself. And that way
Hmm.
you can watch the video and see, am I getting better? You can see yourself, am I, like you said, saying too many ums, or am I moving too much? Am I, being distracting during my own talk? So there's different techniques, but the fact of the matter is you got to get started, and then you got to be wanting to improve. You want to be, getting better. And the only
Right.
way you can do it is by doing it. And then I like also how you said create your own stage. So many times people are sitting back waiting for somebody to recognize them, waiting for somebody to invite them to some place or to give them the I guess the credentials or the approval to start. You don't have to wait on anybody. You don't wait on people to I guess crown you or position
Mm-hmm.
you to be the next thought leader or to be the next great speaker or whatever. If you believe that you have a gift, you have a passion to do something, God gave it to you, you want to do better at it, then practice it. Create your own stage, create your own event. It's
Hmm.
okay. And even if it isn't a big turnout, you got to start somewhere. And
Right.
with consistency, because I love consistency, that's one of the words I love and one I try to live my life by. If you consistently do something over time, you're going to get results. It
Hmm.
just it just happens. If somebody does something every day for 365 days and they get 1% better each day, then that's 365% better. Or let's say
Right.
they only get better once a week by
Hmm.
1%. Then that's
Hmm.
52% better at the end of the year because they have 52 weeks of improvement. So we just got to start it and then be consistent with it and practice. And then we're going to eventually get the results because there's no way around it. You
Yeah.
can't keep showing up, doing your best, and not get some type of result. And eventually people will catch on. And even if they
Hmm.
don't, that's okay. You start your own movement. You build your own table. You start your own t-shirt company or whatever. And you wear your own t-shirt with your own logo on it, your own
Hmm.
slogan. So you have to create your own hype. Don't wait for somebody else to hype you up or, wait for people to find you popular. Because guess what? Eventually they'll see it and then they'll either come over or if not, those aren't your people. Who
Yeah.
cares whether they think they like it or whether you're qualified? That's not for them to decide. It's for you to decide.
Yeah, and God qualifies us, right?
Hello.
God qualifies us, and some people may not see the value now.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not your time yet. Maybe it's not
Right.
time for you to be fully revealed at the level that you're looking to be revealed yet. But
Right.
God is looking to see how consistent can you be. If
Hmm.
you make this promise to yourself, okay, I'm gonna go live every day for 30 days. Start there and just ask
Boom.
it, just be consistent with it. And that's a life principle. Consistency
Yes.
yields results. Whether you do it badly or not, you're just going to see yourself improve. And then once you do the live, watch it, right? So you can be learning and improving. But
Hmm.
if you're consistent, it would yield results eventually. So
Exactly.
yeah, I think that's what's most important. It's not about who how many people are watching. It's not
Mm-mm.
because somebody's always watching. That's one thing I learned. Until you do something bad, right? That's when you realize how many people were actually watching. But it can feel
Right.
very like lonely in the beginning as
Yes.
you just starting out. Oh, okay, two people saw the live or nothing happened with it.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it only takes 30 seconds for the right person to see it. And then you never
Right.
know what might happen. So
Right.
decide that you're gonna be consistent. Make that promise to yourself. And I'm talking to myself. Make that promise to yourself,
Right.
and just get it done. Just get it done
Right.
because somebody's waiting for it somewhere.
Exactly. We have people assigned to us. So
Hmm.
while we're holding back and not fulfilling our potential and just going out there, we're, not allowing who needs to see us to get
Hmm.
to us and see what we have to offer.
Yeah.
And like you said, we just got to be consistent, put it out there. God qualifies us. And, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're
Yeah.
human. It's okay. And like you
Hmm.
said, somebody's always watching. They may not like it, but they saw it.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter, even if you're performing for an audience of one, you go ahead and do it for that one person because even if
Hmm.
it makes a difference in one person's life, then that was worth it. So we have to
Hmm.
stop waiting sometimes for a big following or a big audience. Can you be faithful where you are? Can you go
Hmm.
ahead and do what you said you're going to do at the level you're on? Because a lot of times these lower stages and lower levels are good practice. It's
Yeah.
preparation, getting us ready for the next thing. Sometimes we think we're more ready than we really are. And if we got what we wanted, we wouldn't be able to handle it. And the
Hmm.
last thing I want is to get to a level and then lose it because I wasn't able to maintain it, or I didn't
Yeah.
have the integrity, I didn't have the practice, the stamina, the durability, the whatever to handle it. So I want to make sure that my process might be slow, but it's going to be consistent. So when it builds to what it needs to build, I can sustain it. I want
Yeah.
sustainability. I don't want to
Yeah.
be a one hit wonder. I don't want to just come out and then boom, as quickly as I got up there, quickly I left,
Hmm.
and I want whatever I produce, whatever I have to show a long history of consistency, consistent hard work, showing up, doing the rain, doing the sun, doing the cold, whatever, just me showing up. And then eventually I get to the point where I want to be where I need to be and I can sustain it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
important.
And that, like, I'm as you were talking, I'm just remembering, like, there was a season in my life where not too long ago where God was pretty much teaching me how to prepare for my next season, right? And part of it was he was like, you like eating fried chicken? Because I did. You like eating fried chicken, you're not exercising.
Mm,
He's like, your body's not going to be able to take you to the place where I'm trying to take you. And it says, unless you make those changes, you're going to crash and you're going to burn.
mm,
And that was so clear. And I'm like, all right, God, like, I decided I'm going to stop eating chicken. And when I did, like, my mood, like, increased, like, my level of energy. And I just eat fish now. And it's like,
mm.
so many things, and we think like, okay, the preparation is only like preparing the whatever it is that we have to say, doing the research, but can your body handle it? Are you mentally at a place where you can actually go stand in front of so as many people as you want to talk to,
Right,
and then hear what they have to say back, right? Are you
right,
mentally prepared for the feedback or
right.
for the responses on the internet that you may receive? Are you secure enough in yourself? Have you done that work, right? And so many of us don't think of that. We're like, God, please take me to the thousands of people, the millions of people that I need to talk to. But
Mhm,
is your mind able to handle it, or are you going to go into a depressive phase or be so anxious at the
mhm,
next person who says, "Oh my gosh, look at this part of her body," or "Oh
mhm,
my
mhm.
goodness, she's so terrible. Why would she say it like that?"
Right,
Can your mind handle it? And what is it that you're doing to physically and emotionally, mentally prepare for the place that you want to be at as well?
right. And I'm glad you brought all that up. That's right, because the bigger the spotlight, the bigger the critique, the bigger the criticism. And a lot of people are trolls. They're being negative. They're hiding behind the keyboard, being mean and nasty. And you have to have a strong, tough skin to handle, those negative comments. People like to say whatever they want to say. They wouldn't say it to your face, but they'll say it on the keyboard. They'll say it on the internet. So you have to be mentally strong enough to handle the criticism, because not everybody's going to like your message. Not everybody's going to like you or what you have to offer. There are going to be a lot of people who are going to be jealous and critical, and they just want to be negative just for the sake of being negative, just to try to tear you down.
Mhm.
People that are hurt try to hurt other people. So you
Mhm.
have to realize that. So sometimes, God's protection is for us. His no is our protection, or his redirection for something else, or he knows what we can handle. And
Mhm.
so you don't want to, like I said, bite off more than you can chew, or get to a level or go to a situation where you're not going to be able to handle it. And then it's more destructive,
Mhm.
or more painful for you down the road. So
Mhm.
that's something that, many people don't think about, but they need to. But my
Mhm.
last question to wrap it up is, what is one essential tip you would give to someone who's looking to improve their public speaking skills?
Yeah, outside of what we talked about, consistency, practice, creating your own stage where you can do it consistently so you don't have to wait for an opportunity to be able to prepare. A lot of people say that they started like preaching way earlier,
Mm,
to themselves, to a room, empty room, just to
right,
themselves. They're just preaching the word of God. Prepare your sermons if that's the kind of things that you do. Prepare if your dream is your goal is to do webinars or something like that, or master
right,
classes.
right.
Put them together, put the information together and sit down and present it
That's right.
to no one, but you're presenting it and you're developing those skills. Look out for things like your speaker academy that you're launching. Those things to get support and to get in the right environment. So much happens when you're in the right environment because you can sit with people who are not doing what you want to do all day long, and but when you're in a community of people that kind of like just it's just something gets sparked inside of you where you're like, we have the same goal, we have the same vision, right, and we're doing it together.
Hmm.
It's so much more powerful to
Oh,
do
yeah.
it this way, and you see yourself improve so much faster because you're seeing this person going and you're like, me, I'm competitive. When I see someone else, okay, I'm doing this, I'm launching, I'm doing this business
Right,
thing, I'm
right.
like, oh, okay, so I'm about to do it too.
That's right.
I
That's
know I
right.
can do it. If we're in the same environment and
Hmm.
you're doing it, why can't I?
Right.
So that's why, like, I think the right community, just putting yourself in the right community is also important if that's something that you're looking and trying to do for yourself as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, those were two great points that I love. That if it's something you want to do, get started doing it. And like you said, even if you don't have anybody in the room, start practicing, start preparing, start doing it now. Don't wait for the audience to come. You go ahead and get started, because I
Mm-hmm.
love the saying that says preparation plus opportunity equals success. So if you're preparing, when that opportunity comes to you, then you're going to be successful. So the key thing is, many of us are not prepared, and then the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity comes, and then we're standing around looking crazy because we didn't do what was necessary to prepare in that quiet season, in that time when nobody was wanting us. We weren't preparing. So you got to start preparing today, so
Mm-hmm.
that when that opportunity comes, because we don't know when opportunity is going to come knocking, but the point is, you want to be prepared to open that door and walk
Mm-hmm.
through boldly. And then also, I love that you were just saying, goodness, I'm going blank on your last point. Tell me your last point again. I'm sorry.
I
I
have
just,
no idea what my last one.
oh gosh, I hate that happen. I normally take notes, but it was one point that you
It
said. I
was
know so.
community. I think it was
Yes,
community.
community. Yes, that's it. That's it. I had a brain fart, and it happens. But yes, you want to be in a community that's going to encourage you. And so many times we're in situations where individuals can't encourage us because they're not doing anything. They're not going after their dreams, or they don't have the same passions we have, and yet we're spending time with them. And what they're doing is pulling us further and further away from our dreams. So we need to find healthy communities where there are individuals who have the same passions, the same desires that we have, the same work ethic, or maybe even a stronger work ethic to help influence us in the right direction so
Hmm.
that we can get to our dreams quicker. So yes, those are two key points. Having the right community. You definitely want to be around people who can encourage you. And then you want to start where you are right now. Don't wait for a big audience. Go ahead and start preparing so that you can ultimately get the success that you desire. So wow.
Absolutely.
And I,
Absolutely. And I would say, like, the mind goes in the direction of your most thought. So the thing that you think about the most often, your mind is going to go in that direction. So
that's
if you're sitting around and be like, oh God, no opportunities are coming my way, nothing's happening for me, I cannot do this, then your life and your mind, everything is going to go in that direction. But
right.
if you say, you know what, God, I'm so excited about this next season.
Yeah.
I'm getting myself ready. You know what? I'm going to practice this thing today. How did you think I did? Right? Have a conversation. Like, this can be like a prayer time. Like, you know what, God, how did you think I did on my speech today? I'm going to preach on
Yes.
that thing if that's your thing. Or I'm going to do this live today. I'm going to talk about this topic and let the passion come out. And
Yeah.
when the passion comes out, it will automatically attract what it is that
Yes.
you want, because it's going to tell God, oh, she's ready. She's fired up. She's ready to serve my people. Then I can send this. I can send it quicker than, I would have sent it before. So
Right.
a way to move God's heart is preparation, because God doesn't send a soldier that's not ready into battle.
Right, right, and that's true. And passion is contagious. That's what I was
Mm-hmm.
going to say. Like once you start having that energy, renew your mindset. You're excited. You're doing the necessary work, taking the necessary steps. Then alignment's going to happen. It's gonna all come together. But you got to make that first step in the right direction. You got to claim it. You got to believe it's possible, and then you got to take the necessary steps because faith without works is dead. You do your part, God's gonna do his part. And so, but you gotta believe it first. And
Mm-hmm.
many times we don't believe in ourselves. And you have to be your number one cheerleader. You have to be the one who believes this, even if nobody else believes it. You're gonna have to breathe life into that thing. And then eventually everyone is gonna see it. It's gonna catch on. But other than that, it doesn't matter because you're passionate about it. It's something you care about. And
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Maybe it was for you to put into the world. You don't see anybody else doing it yet because it was meant for you to do it. It was meant
Mm-hmm.
for you to create it. And like they said, if you build it, they will come. So build it, create it, start it, and then just watch how things can just grow over time. Because the time is gonna pass anyway. People are like, oh, it's gonna take me 5 years to do it. Okay. If it takes 5 years, let it take 5 years. 5 years are gonna pass anyway. But at least in that fifth year, you'll be closer to your dream than you were if you did
Right.
nothing. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
people need to stop worrying about the timetable. Time is gonna pass anyway, no matter how long it takes, long as you're working towards it, eventually you're going to get to where you need to go.
Absolutely.
So I loved our conversation, Tabitha. This was just so enlightening and just I really informative, and I just really enjoy your passion. You have a very soothing, soft essence about you, really, and it's very comforting. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that, but you just have a comforting, calming presence, and it still has authority, but it just has an inviting presence. So that definitely I can see working in your favor as a therapist and a coach. You
Yeah,
know,
it does. It
so
does.
that's awesome. So how can people follow you, stay connected, and what do you have coming up that you can share?
Yeah, my pages are NYC Healing Center. That's my therapy business page, or you can just look for my name, Tabitha Azor. You can find some of my stuff there on YouTube. Tabitha Azor, on Instagram and Facebook, NYC Healing Center. But right now, I am launching a 12-week program for women who have gone through divorce, because I've been through one myself, and that's my story and how I kind of like just connect with people, and that's the population that I'm focusing on helping through my coaching in this season. And it's a 12-week program to help women heal, to help them explore who they are, because divorce has a way of breaking you down. And then I want to activate their new chapters, help them activate that, because life can spring out of even something as difficult as divorce. And then the last one is how to build a legacy, right? Because we want a legacy of healing, a legacy of joy and peace, and those wonderful things that you want, not only for yourself, but also if you have children, for your children, and for the people that are looking at you and looking at how you healed through this thing. So if you know anybody who is going through a divorce, I'm having a masterclass on Thursday at, I think I have a 12 o'clock and a 8 p.m. on
Okay.
Thursday, where I'm just going to teach about how to detox your mind and your heart from the pain of divorce. And then I'm going to talk about Divorce and Thriving Academy, where people can really enroll and go on this 12-week journey with me to become a better and new and improved version of themselves.
Wow. Well, that's excellent. And so I'm going to definitely include the links. Please send them to me
I will.
because anybody who has experienced divorce or going through that transition, you have somebody who's been through it and who's gotten on the other side. And now she
Mhm.
can show you the way. So you definitely want to link up. And then even if you just want other therapy services, NYC Healing, I believe you said.
NYC Healing Center. We serve people in New York because
Okay, got you. So if you're in the New York area, definitely you want to check out the NYC Healing Center. So thank you so much, Tabitha, for your enlightenment, for giving us your jewels of knowledge. And it was definitely much appreciated. And I wish you much success on your upcoming masterclass with divorce and getting to the next steps of healing and thriving, surviving that life challenge, but making it into something that you can, look back and say that didn't break me and I'm
Mhm.
stronger now because of it.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you. Me too. Okay, everybody. So definitely, I hope you've enjoyed the three lunch talks we had today. Make sure to, if you're watching it as a replay, put hashtag replay in the comments and tag somebody who could use this information. And until next time, actually, I have two talks tomorrow. So stay tuned. I'll be dropping those flyers on tomorrow morning.